So you ran for president in 2011.
Yes.
It not only take guts, but also take conviction and determination. What do you think motivated you to run for president? And second, what are the critical issues facing Cameroon right now? And what do you think are the solutions for those issues?
Yes. Two things made me run for president. One, I was sick and tired. I was sick and tired. I am an African who believes in Africa. I think that we have all of the resources necessary for our citizens, African citizens, to be living a reasonable life. We are not poor in Africa. We are just poorly run. And I have been very engaged politically almost all my life. Very engaged in issues, very engaged in standing up, very engaged in questioning governance. But I got to the point where I asked myself, Ka, if you feel like it's not being done right, and you have a vision. So that was my second element. I was sick and tired, and I have a vision. I have a vision for my country. I have a vision for my continent. And it's a very simple vision. It's a vision where all Cameroonians have access to water. It's a vision where all Cameroonians have access to electricity, and all Cameroonian children have access to a decent school that enables them to gain the skills that they need to become whatever it is that they want to become in the world. And it's a vision of a Cameroon where we have created the framework for Cameroonians who are very natural entrepreneurs, who are very innovative, who are very creative, and who are very skilled, to be able to develop their businesses, grow their businesses, and, you know, live wealthy lives. So it's a very, very simple vision. And I don't see what is lacking in Cameroon for this vision to be a reality. We have enough natural resources. We have a wonderful climate that can grow enough food for all Cameroonians to be able to eat. We have a wonderful geostrategic position that allows us to be an economy that can feed into the market that is around us. So the only thing that's missing is the leadership and the management to get this done. And when I came face to face with that, because I had been an entrepreneur in my country, and I had been a community activist, and I realized that the only thing that's stopping us from fulfilling this dream is leadership and management at the very head of the country. And I said, then now you've identified very clearly where the problem is. You have to bring a solution at that level, at that place where the problem is. And that's what made me decide to run for president. I had the vision, and at a certain point, I'm not sure exactly where that point came from, I had the courage, and I thought, I have to be more afraid of continuing to live this way, the way we live now, of continuing to live as an African where when I turn on the faucet in the morning, I'm not sure whether water is going to flow or not. I have to be more afraid of being an African who, I'm an entrepreneur, so I can pay for my health care. If I get sick, I'm going to be able to buy medicine. But directly, right in my direct family, are children who are suffering because their parents cannot afford 1,000 francs, $2 to buy malaria medicine. Right in my direct family are children who their parents have to come to me to beg. And you know, for every human being, begging is not something that you would like to do. You lose your dignity, you lose your sense of being as a human being, because you have to come and beg for school fees for your child to go to school. And it's not as if you're not working. It's not as if you get up in the morning and you lay in bed all day. No, you're working hard. You know, these are people who work more hours than I do. And it's not acceptable. It just became unacceptable for me, for us to be living the life that we are living. So that was where the courage, when I got to that point, I was like, I am more afraid of this life than I am of confronting this government and this system. And that's what continues to drive me till today. And I will continue until we fix it. I think that the solutions are there and that they are known. We don't lack solutions for how to get water to every part of our country. We don't lack solutions for how to get electricity to every part of our country. You know, Africa is a continent where between Cameroon and Congo, we can produce enough electricity to light up the entire continent and export some. So it is not the solutions that are lacking. It is the political will and strategy to begin to implement them. So for me, you know, being head of state of Cameroon would mean a three-pronged strategy. One, we must work on democracy, and we must work on democratic institutions, because that is the safeguard. Whatever change you are able to bring about, you must enshrine it in institutions. So I say, for example, that if I became president of Cameroon, one of the first decisions would be reduce the presidential term from 7 years to 5 years, and make a term limit of 2 mandates maximum. But then that must be enshrined in a constitution. We must put it into institutions so that, you know, the next president coming after me can't just change it back. So we must work on democracy. We must have institutions that ensure free and fair elections, that ensure justice. Our court system must be reformed and revised so that we can ensure justice for our people. And we must have a decent legislature that can actually control government. Right now, in most of our parliaments, they are hand clappers for the executive. We have to balance those powers. But while we are doing that, which is not something you can do in 18 months or even in 2 years, this is a 5-10 year project. While we're doing that, we must work on the economy. Because what we've seen in recent history is that if populations do not see the economic benefit, if democracy doesn't give me a job, then I'm not so interested in it. If democracy does not allow me to increase my wages, to have a more secure employment, then I'm not interested in it. So we must work on our Cameroonian economy at the same time that we are ensuring these democratic institutions. And for us, that means very quickly investing in infrastructure that will create jobs and that will create the economic framework for the country. So that means roads. It means, for Cameroon, it means our ports. It means our railway, which open up the market of our sub-region. Because Cameroon is strategically placed to sell to Nigeria, 200 million person market. We are strategically placed to sell to Chad, to sell to Congo, to sell to Gabon, and so on. And then the third part of the strategy is that while this is going on still, we've got to provide water for people. We've got to start building the electrical plants, which sometimes take 5 years to build. So we must begin. Start to provide basic services in terms of education, in terms of healthcare. And I think today we have 2 things on our side. We have technology, which can enable us to leapfrog, to go much faster than others have done in the past. And we have knowledge about the environment. So one of the things we study is people in the Philippines who are building with bamboo, very cheaply, very quickly. We are studying people, you know, the technology with mud brick that is well advanced in Eastern Africa, for example, but that we're not using in Cameroon. So we have a lot of advantages today. We can actually go quickly because technology is there, knowledge is available, skills are available. So as you see, the key is getting there. It's getting into office. That's where, and getting into office means getting people, Cameroonians, involved in governance.